Hello everyone and welcome to another scrapbook process video. This is a mixed media one with the Thompson's Craft Supplies mixed media kit, and this is kind of a little bonus one because usually for Thompson's I have one project a week, which is usually up on a Friday afternoon, but I just love the March Nautical Adventure kit so much I wanted to do an extra project. So yes, here we go. So you saw it just at the beginning there, but my main piece for this project is the sort of Craft porthole paper, the die cut one that came in the kit. But obviously I needed something to back that with, because otherwise if I put it in my album just as the porthole, it's going to be flopping around, it'll probably slip out and stuff. So I just got that paper from, I think it's from Paige Evans Fancy Free, the one that I was just putting some clear gesso on just then. I did originally think, oh, I'll put a nice light piece behind that porthole because it's a very summery, beachy theme I'm going for this. But then I was like, it's going to look too different, because the porthole is quite like a dark colour, so it's going to look too different if it's on a really light background. So I chose that darker one from, as I said, Paige Evans Fancy Free. And even though it got gessoed, the paper was still quite weak and like wibbly wobbly, so I just picked a random 12x12 piece of card from my stash that I didn't think I was going to use for anything else, and just backed that paper with that just to make it more sturdy and everything. And yes, so just as you see, lots and lots of double-sided tape, and then you just put it on there like that. It does help, by the way, if you're backing a paper like that, if you put the heavier one down onto the lighter one, because say I'd put the gesso piece onto the cardstock piece kind of thing, then it may not have stuck quite as well. You'd get like wibbles and wobbles and stuff where it didn't stick as well. If you put the heavier piece down onto the lighter one, it just sort of weighs it down. I hope that made sense. But anyway, so around the edges of this I wanted to do a load of stenciling. Obviously I only need it around the edges because that porthole does take up the majority of the space. So that Craft sort of fishnet stencil that came in the kit. Now, even though they are 12x12 stencils, the actual stenciling bit, the pattern, is not 12x12, so I couldn't just lay it on and then do the stenciling. I had to move it around so the stenciling would be all at the edges kind of thing. Thinking about it, it would be helpful if these companies actually made like 13x13 kind of size stencils, so then the actual stencil, if you get what I mean, reached all the way to the edges of your paper. That would be helpful. But anyway, slight tangent there. But yes, I'm just using some of the sand paste that came with the kit to do that, and I did dry it between each time I lay the stencil back down again, so I didn't smush what I'd already stenciled. I was talking about this in my last mixed media video. But yes, the sand paste does take a while to dry as well, just as an FYI, much longer than it takes like modelling paste or gesso to dry. So that did take a while, but I did cut it out because that would be boring to watch. And then I sprayed some of the Lindy's Starburst in Tibetan Poppy Teal all over that, so it would be a pretty colour. But even though the Lindy's is a two-tone spray, it was still, you know, it still wasn't interesting enough, just that one or two kind of colours kind of thing. So I added as well some of the Lindy's Magical Shaker in Afternoon Delight Denim, just to add a darker colour and more interest to the colour that's going to be around the edges of like my main piece for this layout. So yes, obviously it looks messy as hell in the middle, but that didn't matter because that was going to get covered up anyway. So, you know, just adding water, let it run around the stenciling, doing its own thing, all that kind of thing. So I actually left that overnight to dry, I've said before, but I think the Lindy's shakers dry better when you just leave them to dry rather than using a heat tool. I don't know why, it just seems that they do. I don't know why. But yes, so you won't see the backing paper again for a while now because I do most of the work on the porthole shape. So I just added a very light layer of white gesso with a little sponge there on the sort of like the bottom and towards the right and up at the top left there, just because of that I knew that was where I was going to be doing most of my work and mixed media and all that kind of thing. So this lovely Prima stamp came, well, I bought it as an add-on with the kit. I believe there's still a couple available in store. I will link them because it is a gorgeous stamp. I love it so much. So I stamped that 3 times over this layout. So once down the bottom there, the whole stamp, then again at the top there, but I didn't ink the whole thing. I just I left out the musical notes, and then I just kind of did the flowery edge bit at the edge there. I'm using Stays On ink, as you can see, and then immediately cleaning it off because I'm really funny about that with my stamps. Now I did do an extra bit of stenciling, but I will warn you now, it does pretty much all of it get completely covered up. So I don't even know why I've left this in the video, but there we go. In case you like the colour, that is a mix of modelling paste and Dilutions in Periwinkle Blue, and the stencil was another add-on for the kit, but I didn't like that just one tone blue. I was looking at it like, yeah, I'm not happy with this. So again, we revert to the Lindy's shakers. I only put the teensiest, tiniest bit on, and only a tiny bit of water, but just to add interest and more colour dimension and stuff. But as I say, it all gets covered up anyway. Now with the Lindy's, because they are two-tone, you do get other colours that pop up sometimes. So you saw that sort of pinkish purple appear there, and I just dabbed that away because I did not want those colours in this layout. But again, it all gets covered up anyway, so what's the point of me talking about it? So I will talk about my photo now. You just saw it really briefly. It is of me when I was little and my eldest sister Rachel. I was asking her for some photos recently, and this was not related to my request, but she came across it and she thought I would like it, so sent it to me, and I thought it was super cute, and I just love how summery and beachy it is. I don't know for sure when it is. I'm going to estimate that I was about 3-ish. Obviously, I'm the little ginger child, which would have made Rach about 15. That's a complete guess, by the way. But anyways, so yes, just a really cute, summery, beachy. Anyway, yeah. So I'm using a lot of stuff from the Prima St Tropez collection. There was one paper in the kit from Prima St Tropez, but I also happen to have a fair bit of it myself. So I backed the photo with the graphic 45 paper from the kit, and then some of the burlap again from the kit, and then just some random scraps from St Tropez, but then also that card, that journal card. I've got a little pack of 3x4 cards, and it has, what does it say? Something like, the sand may wash off, but the memories are forever. I just thought that was super cute and would work very well. So I'm making just sort of a little cluster of those torn bits and the burlap and that little quote poking out the top there, and just putting them all together with some 3D matte gel, not gloss, matte. I'm trying to use more of my matte at the moment because it seems there's a bit of a shortage out there of the gloss, and I will cry if I run out. So yes, using the matte when it is appropriate. You can see that paper there, the graphic 45 one was the one with all the sea turtles on. I fussy cut most of them, but I did leave a little bit of the paper so I could use it for reasons like this, and I think that blue edge pokes out quite nicely amongst that kind of burlappy, the woody effect kind of background. I also cut out that Love You piece. You can just see that on the left there, from the many cut aparts that are in the Prima St Tropez collection. I think there's like 3, 4. That's quite a lot, don't you think, for one collection? Anyways, I'm not 100% sure if it's from the cut apart that came in the kit or not, though. I have a feeling it's not. I don't know, but I really wanted to use that black Love You to the Beach and Back thing that I was just playing with there, and I couldn't make it work down in the bottom right there like I wanted to, but I did notice that frame. I was like, oh, hang on a minute, that's gonna work. I so rarely use frames. I always forget to do them. Often they're not the right size and stuff, and they're one of those embellishments and things that I very rarely use, but for once I was like, this is gonna work, hooray! And the summer vibes that is underneath I decided to use as my title for this layout as well. So those little flowers down there, those are from the range. Really cute little flowers. You get a pack for about £1. I haven't seen them in the range recently, actually, I will add, but sometimes the range, you know, stuff comes and goes and you just got to keep an eye out for it, really. So up in the top left, I had, because I'd done a bit of stamping and a bit of stenciling, I needed to make something of it, as it were. Couldn't just leave it like that because it would look grim. So I put some of the fish netting from the kit down there, just by putting a load of gel down and then putting the netting on top. Just as a little FYI about this, if you do this, it does seem at first like that netting is not going to stick. It really does think, you know, you don't think it is, but if you just leave it alone, it will. But then I realised, because I was doing stuff up there, that was the perfect place for me to put that little sort of sentiment chipboard piece. There's me doing a little dance there. I wonder what I was listening to. yes, that was the perfect place for me to actually use that. So I just backed it with another scrap from St Tropez. All these chipboard pieces, by the way, I don't know if I've said they're, again, from St Tropez. Don't know if I've said that or not, but I have now. So yes, I put that up there and I was happy because, yay, I got it into the layout. So I added some sentiments from that same chipboard piece, and I'm adding more flowers, and I'm adding Prima flowers. Those are my last Prima flowers from the kit. I'm so sad because I love them so much. I'm adding rainbow resins from the kit, and I've also got these itty bitty weeny teeny tiny resin flowers that I bought from eBay, so I'm putting those on as well. They're so cute, but also so fiddly to put on a layout like this. I got covered, my hands were just covered in gel, and I hate it so much on my hands. Anyways, what else is happening? More flowers, they just keep going on. I just think they look super pretty. And if you're like me and you're a bit cheap and you don't want to pay out for Prima flowers, which I don't really, like, as lovely as they are, they ain't cheap. So getting flowers like this from the range, just picking up little paper flowers and stuff, is always good to do. So once all like the resins and paper flowers were down, I was like, sequin time. So I did what I've done many times before, which is just add a little bit of gloss gel and then sprinkle sequins on the top of that. Have I used sequins in every project so far this month? I feel like I have. Like, I love the Spiegel Mum scrap sequins, but this particular pack is definitely my favorite. It's so pretty. I think it's because it's not obvious. Like, for a nautical themed kit, you would just think, yeah, lots of blues and stuff, but there's not actually much blue in it. It's mostly like the mother of pearly and the sandy colour, and it's just so pretty. So I added some more sequins up the top around that love you sentiment, and then more flowers as well, because that's what it needed, more flowers. So it has like the main cluster down there, but also the sort of little extra cluster up the top. So now it is time to attach the porthole to the backing piece. Now, I'm not using double-sided tape for this. I'm just putting that double-sided tape down to keep it in place while I use my actual way of attaching this. And what I did was I decided to use a load of brads, which I don't think I've ever really used before to attach something. I have only ever used them as embellishments, and they are embellishments as well. These are just cheap ones, again, from the range. They're this sort of beigey brown colour. And I just poked holes with my little Tim Holtz pokey tool, and then put the brads in like that. And I put 8 in total, and I think that looks great around the porthole because it looks like the nails that you would get in the porthole kind of thing. So yes, with that, the layout, she is finished. So thank you so much for watching. Here are some stills and close-ups and whatnot of all the detail. I have no idea if there are any of these kits left in store, but I will link if there are. So look out for my final project with this kit that will be out on Friday. It will be an art journal piece, and then hopefully on Saturday I will be sharing April's kit with you as well. So there we go. Thank you again so much for watching. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I shall now go. Okay, bye bye.